As you said before, my name is Ryan Doombrowski. I'm currently a full-time computer repair technician, part-time game developer for Doombrowski. I'm the sole member of the studio Doombrowski. I recently released 2 games, Decimate and Urgent Metamorphosis. You can find a lot of information about those games and other projects I'm working on my dev blog at doombrowski.com. Bit of personal information. I've been playing video games since I was very little, around 24 years. The games up there are some of the favorites since forever. Mega Man 2, Tiger Heli, Galaga, Blaster Master. I like side-scrolling and vertical shooters. I started making games when I was 13. The first games that I made were card games. It was called Legacy. It was basically Magic the Gathering, but with worse artwork. More recently, around 2014, I worked on another prototype. It was a game called Reality Shift. You can see some pictures of some things that I threw together for it. It was a full game that you could play, but it was a little too convoluted. I kind of set it on the back burner. I may pick it back up in the future. Bit of my musical background. Before making games, music used to be the main thing that I was into. Played a lot of instruments and have made a lot of music. You can see all the different artist names up there. I've made pretty much full CDs with all of them, just multiple CDs with a few. The large image is of Ultra Laser. It's a full video game based nerdcore rap group that I made 2 discs with. It's pretty entertaining, not for children. I spent about 8 years actively making and performing music. You can find some of the music I have on SoundCloud, and you can see it at the bottom. I gained an active interest in making video games about 7 years ago. I experimented with a couple game engines, specifically Torque and RPG Maker, before landing at Game Maker in 2013. I made some tutorial-based games, which the screens are up there. You get Crappy Space Game, Balls, and Get Blasted on Biatch. Only in the last 10 months or so have I really seriously started cracking on game development. The first game that I tried to work on was supposed to be a side-scrolling shooter. It was a mix between Borderlands and Binding of Isaac: A Rogue Legacy, but that is massive and is way too big for me to do, so I set it on the back burner and started on something smaller, which was Decimate. I have a trailer for it here.
Decimate. Destroy all blocks before time runs out. Upgrade guns, do it faster. Upgrade guns, faster. Maximum blast. Faster times give greater rewards. Increase your arsenal. Unlock new guns and levels. Become the ultimate Decimator. Decimate. Available on Android and PC at Google Play, Amazon apps, itch.io, and Doombrowski.com.
Well, if you were able to hear the trailer, it was edited in Blender. The voiceover was done in Sonar. Overview of the game. The tagline for it is a frank to get soothing arcade-style time attack puzzle shooter. It's on Android and PC. It took exactly 3 months from the time I started working on the game to when it was released, roughly 150 hours of actual work time. You can get the game on Google Play, Amazon apps, itch.io, and my website, doombrowski.com. Decimate was made fully in Game Maker. I chose Game Maker because I had a little bit of experience in it already, and I already purchased the full studio version a while back. I didn't want it to go to waste. There was also recently a Humble Bundle that included the Game Maker Studio license as well as the Android export module, which is normally $300. If it weren't for that being so cheap, I would have never made it on mobile. The main reason that I made Decimate was to have a game to play that I could call my own. It wasn't made for anybody. I never intended on marketing it. The inspiration for the aesthetics and the sound were from a game called Line. You can find more information at linegame.com. It's a very smooth, modern, simple game, but it's very well put together. Some features of Decimate. Decimate is a shooter where the object of the game is to destroy all the blocks as fast as you can. The main thing is timed levels. Time is the only enemy in the game, essentially. All the best times are saved and viewable in the level select menu. To shoot in the game, you tap and hold instead of continuously tapping like a lot of people seem to want to do. And the only directions you can move are up and down. There are multiple block types in the game. There are color blocks, bomb blocks, healing, binding, gravity, gravity glass, solid, rack, and switch. The different types of blocks just allow for more variance in level design. The game has a built-in teaching system. None of the blocks are told as to what the functionality is. You play through the level, and eventually you'll realize that certain blocks are interacting certain ways. There are lots of unlockables in the game. Levels unlock with progression, and in order to get to the next one, you have to beat one. There are multiple guns that unlock, as well as ships at the higher levels. There's a upgradable gun system. It's just 2 simple stats, but it makes the game easier for people who aren't as affluent with shooters. And there are also alternate game modes that unlock after the first 50 levels are done. There's a challenge mode, a hard mode, and a randomly generated mode. And those are all for like advanced play. The sound design, it's all the music in the background is ambient with no percussion. It is intended to be like a soothing type of game, all except for the random mode, which is intended to be a fast, frantic type of mode. Programs that I use for music are Reason and Fruity Loops. There's an example of some of the sound in the game. The piano sounds that you hear are actually the blocks being destroyed. They're all within certain chords to make it sound kind of together and cohesive. The bass sound that you hear is the gun actually firing. You hear the victory sounds. As far as art and design, it's very simple shapes meant for a clean look, minimal color palette. Most of it looks kind of like the Game Boy colors. I don't know why I like that. It's just easy, I guess. I'm not the greatest artist. It has large icons, buttons, and text just to be legible on small screens because it was made for a very small cell phone. My cell phone specifically is smaller than the average. The art programs that I use are Photoshop and Game Maker's in-engine editor. After I finished Decimate, I took part in the Ludum Dare number 35. For those who don't know, Ludum Dare is an online game jam where you are tasked with creating a game based on a theme within 48 or 72 hours, depending on which part of the event you choose to enter. I chose the compo, which is a single person in 48 hours. The theme was Shapeshifter. The game that I made was about turning the werewolf back into a man one piece at a time. So all the limbs there will flash and make a silly looking half man, half wolf. It's a button mashing Mario Party-esque type of game called Urgent Metamorphosis. The time actually spent on making the game was 27 hours. You can find a link to it at Doombrowski.com. Other info before I finish up, I will have flyers with game codes for Decimate for anybody who would like it. It's only available on Android and PC. The flyers are for Google Play. I will have them as well as Sandra by the camera over there at the table. We also have business cards with all this information in case you want to get in touch or keep up with progress. I will be at Orlando IX in October. Hopefully I'll have my next project ready by then. It's going to be a head-to-head Nidhogg tug-of-war type of game, currently called Trust Fall. There will be more information on that on my blog. I'll also be found on the Game Devs Like You podcast soon as a featured guest. We've already recorded, it's just waiting to roll out. You can find that at gamedevslikeyou.com. I'm available for collaboration as well. All the games I've made so far have been on my own, but I'd like to team up with some people sometime. I'm more proficient in sound design, promotional material design, level design, and voiceover work. I'd love to make this full time and get rid of my computer repair job. You can see how well that went with all the sound and crap. If you're interested, stop by and talk to me or Sandra. I'd like to hear from everybody. Shout out to the previous presenters that have been here. I've come the last few months, and it takes balls to do this. Not the game that I had, but you know. The people that made Gravity Arc, Bud Sniff and Pugs, Artisan, Sun Sentinels, and My Aroma. Appreciate it. Thank you everybody for coming out and hanging out. Thank you Indienomicon for having me present. I look forward to more in the future. Back on Patreon.
Is the Decimate a weapon or just a name?
It's just a name. It was going to be the name of the ship, but I ended up giving all the ships different clever names. Every one of them has a meaning. For that.
So, why'd you use Reason for the main sound, but also added Fruity Loops into the mix for the sound effects?
I like Reason's interface for MIDI a lot better than Fruity Loops, so I generally do keys and synthesizers in Reason. Overall, for music, I like Reason a lot better, but for smaller things, Fruity Loops a lot easier.
Any other questions? Right here.
Yes.
Do you plan on releasing the game on for iOS?
I don't. It's too expensive for the module at the moment. It hasn't really made any money on Android because I didn't intend on marketing it. So.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.